Hey everyone, hope you guys are doing good. So in my last video number 55, I had actually shown you how to connect N8N with Oracle ERP and we did a receipt and invoice automation process, right? I hope you have seen this. So many people actually reached out to me asking me some details about this process. And also people started asking about the cost of this tool. Now, as you know, N8N, there are three ways you can implement N8N. One is completely local on your machine, but that needs Docker and everything, but that local thing is not very efficient. Okay, it's basically doesn't give you all the options. The second one is through a company called Hostinger, where they host N8N for you. Okay, and you get it for a little cheaper price. That is what I had done. If you remember, in this video I was showing you a little bit about Hostinger URLs. But the problem with Hostinger is that, let's say N8N is upgraded to a new latest version, the Hostinger environment expects us to do that activity of upgrading it automatically. So sometimes you need to know things like Unix and other commands. Basic commands are okay, but I was trying to upgrade that to the latest 2.0 version, but I had some challenges doing it. I could not. Okay, so I think the best one obviously is your N8N Cloud, which is directly on cloud, but that is the cost of that is very high, in the sense it's about, I think, $25 a month. So that becomes too expensive. And then I was thinking about other alternative options. I was thinking, why not try something which does not need that level of automation like N8N has. So N8N, as you know, it is having options for Excel and CSV, and all sort of tools are incorporated into N8N, right? So I was wondering why we should get into that. See, because specifically when it comes to Oracle, the majority of the thing is that it should deal with REST APIs on Oracle side, right? It should deal with that, and then the other thing is it should be able to use the models, and it should be able to use all the other AI related functionalities currently available. So I was doing the research, and I've heard multiple tools, but I was not sure. Like Zapier was one which I tried. There are others also. Like Make.com is something which I previously showed you guys. This one, Make.com. Yeah, Make.com. This is also something we have seen. But again, those things all involve some amount of cost. Okay, but I wanted to try out something totally free. So I did come across something. I knew this has been around for a while, but I was not so sure about how that tool is, and I've been exploring that. So today we are going to talk about that. Okay, so the tool is called LangFlow. Okay, LangFlow. Yeah, this LangFlow tool is again a low code tool, no code tool. It can be you can do some kind of coding also in this, and you can try to do a drag and drop kind of process, just like what we saw in N8N. And the good thing is this is like free. You get a lot of functionalities when in the free option, but which is kind of sufficient for the Oracle training, at least, or to get your hands dirty on it. When you get into production, you may have to go for a purchased option, but the free option doesn't have that 14-day limitation which N8N had, right? So you don't have that. So because definitely 14 days is not sufficient to get your hands dirty. You need to spend a little more time in understanding the functionalities and things like that. So this tool, as per me, is one of the very good tools to get your hands dirty on things like that. And it's a completely drag and drop tool. And the good thing is this is also available for your desktop. Okay, there is no client desktop application available for N8N yet, but this one is also available on your desktop. You can just go and fill this form, and you can download this on your machine also. Okay, so I have done this, and this is what I'm going to show you today, just a glimpse of it. And if you guys like this video, then maybe I can explore this further, while I may still continue with N8N also, because that has other options. I'm trying to find another option for getting a cheaper price when it comes to N8N on cloud. But today let's talk about Langflow a little bit. Okay, now, LangFlow is something which I've also installed on my machine. Okay, so you can see I was playing around with this. This is like a client version of the LangFlow on my local machine. But you see this? This is completely workflow, design based workflow. And it starts with different components. On the left side, you have inputs, agents, models, data processing, logic helpers. So if you expand this input, you'll see chat input, chat output, text input, text output. Okay, a lot of features available. Then you have agents. You can build different agents here. We have MCP tools here. And then when it comes to models, you have the language models. If you click on plus here, you'll see OpenAI model and Anthropic model and the Google model, Gemini model. So in the local version, you only have these three. Okay. But in the cloud version, you'll have other Mistral and all those other models also. But here in the local version, you only have these three. But I think these three are the best, if you ask me. Okay. And these three are the best. And if you have to work with any LLM, at least in your beginning of the projects, I would say you have to try this. Okay. And I think, let me actually delete this one. And I think there is also Olama. Yeah, Olama is also there. So folks who do not know Olama, we'll do something in Olama next year in 2026. Olama is something like, you download your entire model, that is like an open source model like Llama 3 or something, on your local machine. Okay, maybe like a quantized version of it on your local machine, and then Olama helps you access that LLM. Okay, so just a little glimpse. Let me go to. I don't know if you have any model available, but it's like, if I have Olama list. I'm sorry, I'm deviating a little bit. I just wanted to show you. Okay, so I like, for example, I have this Quen 3 model installed on my machine, right? So let's say Olama run. Okay, oh, sorry, it's Olama. Let it keep running in the meantime. We'll come back to this. Okay, so it's saying model requires more memory. Okay, so these are the kind of things which happens when you run some local model. Okay, but we can sort this out anyway. That we can see that in the following future sessions. So bottom line is, Olama is also one tool available using which you can run models. But in the beginning, I would always recommend folks to do any standard models, like any of these models which are available in like OpenAI, Anthropic, or Google. That's what I initially recommend folks to do. Okay, and just for your knowledge, Oracle also works with these models, and Oracle has connected with a very good company called Cohere. So Cohere's models are also connected with Oracle. Okay, and you can see there are embedding models also. You see this embedding models are also available. Embeddings is basically like conversion of text into vectors. That's what embedding is. So we'll see all that in future. Okay, so and then we have data, like API is very important. That's what I majority used. And then you have for file structure, if you want to do a RAG process, all that you can do. You can connect to SQL database. Now I'm looking for options whether I can do connect using the Oracle's OCI based REST API, sorry, OCI based database. I'm trying to work on that. If that works, I'll definitely let you guys know. And then webhooks and these kind of things, web search functionality. So you can see this tool itself has a lot of functionalities which N8N offers, and I would say this is like a subset of N8N. And if it is relevant, if it is enough for Oracle folks, then I think we don't need to really go and buy. But since I've already have that license with me, I'm going to try N8N also. But parallelly, I'm going to use this tool. Okay, so this you can just drag. Like for example, if you want to drag a new model, like I was showing you, just select this, you bring it here, and let's say you want to connect it. You can just drag and drop here. It'll just connect like this. You have to build connections like this, but don't blindly connect. You have to understand what kind of input can work with what kind of output. For that, we need to understand LangFlow at length. So, if you guys are interested in learning more about LangFlow, how it can be used specifically in Oracle, then I can do some videos about that in future. Okay, but today let me just quickly show you. So, this, for example, as you can see, this is a chat input, and then this basically is your how do I show this controls? If you go to controls, this is basically I'm connecting to the Oracle's REST API. Okay, if you look at this, I'm taking 20,000 limit because otherwise it gives me a lot of trouble. I've hard coded the business unit as US1 business unit over here. Okay, and I'm using the get method over here. And then there are some header levels. So one thing is authorization. We have to actually encrypt the authorization here. We cannot directly give the username and password. And these are the other header level information. Like you can see, I'm passing US1 business unit. I'm giving 10,000 limit. Otherwise, it was crashing actually. Okay, so I had to give this. So I'm exploring this further, team. But let me quickly show you. So this is one node, which is basically I just called it the receivable Oracle invoice node, and then we have the prompt. Now this prompt is quite elaborate. Okay, so this is a very elaborate prompt. Okay, I'm just scrolling through so that you can read through that. No point reading it. This is a very elaborate point, and there is a parser which is basically parsing the data coming from this prompt and being sent to this API as an API response to this prompt. And then I'm running it through a model, basically our OpenAI model. As you can see, it's got an input. That input is coming from, which is basically the output of your prompt, which in turn is connected to the invoices tool. So this is kind of a tool. Think of this as a tool. Okay, so all these are working towards each other, and then finally the output is showing you. And you have this playground. Now the good thing is, this whole thing you can design it over here, but it's not necessary that you have to run this the same way in production. You can go and export this. You can create an API for the whole thing, and you can expose that API. You can create an MCP server for this. You can basically export this entire code into a JSON file. So for example, it'll entire into a JSON file. You can import that into other instances and all that. Okay, so you can all do that. We can build a Streamlit application, or you can hook this up into Oracle's Fusion using some kind of, I think, plugin options available. So those things we will all see that in 2026. But today I just wanted to quickly show you what I currently have, okay, and how this behaves. So let's go to the playground, and I'll say, hello, what information Can you show me? Let's ask this simple question. Now, this one, I've just made sure that this is just talking about the accounts receivable because that's what the REST API is about. But we can add more. So while this comes, we can add more tools here. Now, this is invoices. I could do receipts. So you can see I've executed. So it is executing, running the API. You can see all that happened. It's still running the API. It's taking the time here. It'll go to show you that. Let's go back to the playground. So I think it's still running. So the local version is a little slow, but let's keep waiting to see what happens. While that comes up, we'll just discuss. So you can add more, like you can add more tools here. Like you can go and say API tool, okay, and what is that? Yeah, API request. You can grab, you can actually drop it here. You can connect it to the REST API, like receivables payments. Then you can have for customers and all that. You can hook it up to different prompts, different parsers, different OpenAI. At the end of the day, you need to know what you're designing. Based on that design, at the output, you can answer questions like if you want to know which customer did what, you can get that sort of information. So you need to have make sure that the REST API is currently linked into this. Okay, that's what I want to see. Let's go back to our playground. Okay, so it says thinking it through based on what's available, I can present invoice records for US one business unit. In a table showing invoice header, due date, currency, amount, etc., I can also show additional header details for specific invoice, balance terms, accounting, and everything if you provide the invoice number. Would you like me to filter by date? It's asking me just because, see, these are reasoning capabilities. That's because of this. That's because of the OpenAI model here. You can see I'm using GPT-5 here. Okay, so that's why it shows you, and the OpenAI key is also here. Let's go back here. Yeah, please list five invoices. Invoices. Okay, so let it keep running. I think because this is a local version, it does take time, but the cloud version is pretty fast. But and the cloud version also is free. You can actually let's go over to this website. If you go and register this, right, you can register this one, not download. You can go and log in, sign up for free, and basically it'll give you an option to run this on the cloud directly. So that is another option. I was just interested in understanding if we can do a desktop version of it. So that's why I went directly into the desktop option. Okay, let's go back to the tool here. Okay, so it's still working. Let's give it a minute and we'll just wait for it to give us the response. Okay, here it comes. Thinking it through, here are five invoices for Dixon Industries. Now, this one I have not filtered for anything specific to Dixon, just like what we did in the N8N. So let me see. Can you give me something, some invoices for customer other than Dixon? This time I've used a filter for the so thinking if there are no invoices for customer other than Dixon Industries. I'm thinking that's because the initial response was only 25 invoices. Okay, that's why it gave me this. So that's the best we can do, but we have to elaborate this further. Okay. All right, team. So that's what I had for today. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you want me to explore this further, right, let me know and I can try to do this further.